Make myself comfortable. Good morning to you and good evening, wherever you are. All right, so I've got an interesting, 16 days ahead of me where I head back to China and go through the quarantine process. I'm going to let you all know about that. But also, we've all got an interesting time ahead of us, right? Really, really. And if there is an economic crash, right, we want to be ready for it. Hey, Harrison. You're looking strong. Good. All right, Brian Altona's here. So what I want to do, I actually want to forewarned is forearmed, pre-prepared, all of that. And I'm going to talk about a really negative topic. I'm going to talk about failure, right? But the reason I want to talk about failure is actually so that we can, get our minds right to not fail, right? Because I think that it's the fear of failure that holds everybody back. And the fear of the pain and change and all these sorts of things. So imagine if you could actually prepare your mind, brace yourself. It's a little bit like being an athlete, right? And an athlete saying, okay, I'm going to get ready to go and, run a marathon. Well, dude, you got to run a bit of marathon. You got to do some miles, right? And the mind is the same, right? You can be gym fit and you can be work fit. But a lot of people that have never actually failed, a lot of the millennials have just sort of grown up in a really boom time, and they don't really have a whole lot of experience of things going particularly wrong. So what I want to talk about is what happens when things go wrong, because I've actually had something go wrong. I had 105 people working for me, and I had to put off 60 of them 1 week, and 2 weeks later I had to put off the rest. Hey, Peter Thomas, good to see you from down under. And then I want to talk about Trump and some of the things that he's been through. Joy Miller's here from Canada. Good to see you. And I just did a little bit of research on JFK with the Battle of the Pigs, 1961, because I think that's also a really interesting failure. To watch, how people's minds are ready, what might have got them ready, how do they handle it, what previous experience adds to what you're about to go through. And then if you don't have previous experience, how do you add something to chew on, right, to give yourself something which looks like, feels like previous experience, or at least, should we say, you could take some medicine to prepare your body, or let's say prevention is better than cure. No, I'm in Thailand, John. 2 more days in Thailand. So I'm going to talk about failure. So listen in. And the people, there's, if you listen to that Raymond Burke, Bobby Walker thing, there's I kind of understood this thing as, listen up, right? If you want to listen to anybody, you make sure that they've been where you want to go, right? So if you want to talk to somebody, hello from Big Texas. If you want to talk to somebody about failure, make sure you've talked to somebody who has failed, right? Don't talk about failure to the people who have never failed. They've had a blessed life, they've had a great life, and all power to them, and they're better than those of us who have experienced failure. If that's, so be it, be the judgment. However, if you want to prepare yourself for failure, right, and you've got to look at people who, and when I say fail, it's got a different definition. It's not like fail and collapse and fall on the ground. Like I always say, if you're going to fail, if you're going down emotionally, there's all sorts of failures, right? So most of this is about emotions, actually. I'm not talking about business failure per se, but it's the emotion of failure, right? The feeling of failure, the fear of failure, the potential of failure. I always say, if I'm going into an emotional void, the dark space, which makes you, wonder if you're worth anything on the planet or anything like that, accelerate in and be a golf ball. Don't be a piece of putty, right? If you're a little blob of blue tack, right, you hit the bottom and you just stick there, right? But if you're a golf ball, dude, you can bounce off that, or a bouncy ball. That's what we want to do, right? So you got to be. It's about being ready and knowing how to do it, right? So my metaphor is an old Asian saying, right? And it goes like this: there was a guy who was walking through a forest. And deep in the forest, he came across a tiger. And the tiger was standing there and looking at him. And he thought, I have 3 things I could do, right? Firstly, I could stare down the tiger. Maybe I can stare him down and he'll walk away. Secondly, actually 4 things, right? Fourth, I could run at the tiger and attack him. Maybe I can beat him, The third thing is I could run away from the tiger, like almost even walk away, like just pretend he's not here, pretend I'm not here, just slowly disappear into the forest, right? So those are our choices, yeah. We have this option, like, if you look at, what's coming and you try and consider it, it just becomes massively overwhelming. I mean, I just feel flashes of overwhelm continually. Like when Australia got rated by China as a high-risk area, I said, Australia? High risk for coronavirus? Like that just blew my mind. Out of this world. I'm going, no way. So there's just moments, and you'll get this and that, and you'll get a cancelled order, and you go, no, like how could that happen? And then maybe one of our friends, I know Dougie Doo, his son was diagnosed with COVID-19, and that was scary. Because I was feeling for this guy's son and his friend have tested positive. They're getting well. Everything seems okay at the moment, so that's great. But wow, what a whack! There's all these whacks. So, we can stare this down, and you're going to go, no, I'm just going to, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stare at it. I'm just going to look at it. I'm going to drill it. I'm going to give it all my intention and intensity, and maybe it'll just turn around and go away, right? Or, we could say, here's an example. We could say, well, I'm just going to go pressure wash anyway. Don't worry about the self-isolation or the social distancing. I'm just going to go at it. Like the Constitution says, you can't limit me unless I'm an imminent threat, and you can't prove that I'm an imminent threat because I haven't proved positive. So you have no power over me. I'm just going to keep on going, and that's America taught that we don't have those rights in Australia. So you could go charging straight at it, and see how you go, right? Or which I see, is also really, really natural, is to just pretend it's not there. It's not there for me, right? That tiger is just not there for me. So I'm just going to turn around and just turn my back to it and ignore it, and just see if I walk far enough down this road, that tiger is just not going to be there anymore. I mean, can you relate to that? That's the kind of thing we can do, right? But the fourth one is to ride the tiger, right? Now, the secret to riding the tiger is you have to know the tiger, So you get on the tiger, and fear, tiger is actually the fear. It's not the coronavirus. It's not the drop-in work. It's not the cancelled orders. It's, thanks, Kermit. It's not any of this. It's fear. It's being able to understand fear, being able to process your thoughts, right? So you have to ride the tiger. But to ride the tiger, you have to know a tiger, kind of thing. Or, well, let's say the better you know a tiger, the better you can ride a tiger, And that's the thing about, dealing with people. If the topic is failure, and the fear of failure is the emotion that we're going to be, potentially facing as it comes through in flashes. I'm not talking about you going down and, thinking about, ending life or anything like this. This is not about clinical depression. This is about a flash of fear. And hey, Moy, good to see you from California. You guys are in lockdown. That's a bit scary. So you want to ride the tiger. Now, I am actually a professional salesman trained under the good guidance of a guy called Tom Hopkins and another great guy called Zig Ziglar. All right, I've seen these guys live several times. These were my heroes. Now, Tom Hopkins, he taught me to memorize these sayings. Right, I never see failure as failure, but only as a learning experience. Right, we used to have to memorize all this. Right, I never see failure as failure, but only as the instruction to change course in my direction. I never see failure as failure, but only as the opportunity to develop my sense of humor. I never see failure as failure, but only as the opportunity to practice my techniques and perfect my performance. I never see failure as failure, but only as the game I must play to win. Right? So what we can do is we can reframe what is the meaning of failure. Right, as we address and get flashes of fear and all the what ifs and everything like that, and prepare our minds. If we prepare our minds such that failure has no power over us, the fear. It's not failure, by the way, because I can tell you I might even tell you what failure feels like, but it's the fear of failure which grips us. And what happens? Those of you who know the Victory V, when I did the huge convention, we had 1,400 hands up in the air in the Victory V. All right, the basic rule of the Victory V is that when we go to curl up in a ball like a hedgehog or a porcupine, we stick all our bristles out and we become right dicks, assholes, nasty people, you know, like, and the girls become bitches and witches, you know, like, but they become nasty people. When people do, this is cortisol. This is a hormone, a self-defense hormone, which says, roll into a ball, take away your personality from you, and put the prickles out, right? And wait until it's passed. Now, that's the cannot do drug, right, that we make. I can't do anything better. The safest place for me right now is in a ball with my prickles out. And, you know, you imagine doing 14 days quarantine, self-isolation with your partner when both of you are full of cortisol, right? You got a prickle fight, right, going on right there. So the alternative hormone is testosterone, right? Testosterone is the can-do drug, right? And we can manufacture this, right? And that's what the Victory V does. You all do Victory V, like straight arms, not fake. Don't have them half bent and look like you're a W, right? You're gonna have straight arms, and you got to hold it for 2 minutes, and you talk great affirmations. Like that? I visualized that.
Like a winner, not a W.
Looks like a winner. V for winner, not W for woozer. Right? Anyway, so but you can generate testosterone just in your own home. Just hold your arms up in a Victory V for 2 minutes, and then of course you want to say something positive. Of course you want to point your direction, like get the blood running, get your brain working, and all that, and get your can-do drug going, you know. So then I wanted to sort of talk about, like, we get some examples. I mean, when JFK did the Battle of the Pigs, 1961, I mean, and you could study all these people. I just want to encourage you, like, study these people who have experienced failure. I know JFK served, right, in Asia. And so he had this reservation about sending the troops to a battle. He just really did, because he knew what it felt like to be in a war. Hey, Jack, good to see you. So, and then, you know, when he sent the troops into the Battle of the Pigs, like they got overwhelmed, yeah? And say what? The Bay of Pigs, but I think it was the Bay of Pigs, but I think it called the Battle of the Bay of the Pigs. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, something like that. But at the end of it, he accepted full responsibility of the failure, and he said, look, success has 100 fathers, failure has one orphan, and that's got to be me, you know. So these are the things where you can go, okay, I'm going to prepare my brain. But what you're doing is you're preparing your brain so that you're not gripped by fear, so that you're not gripped by the fear of failure, so that you don't fill up with cortisol, so that you can fill up with testosterone, so that you can do a pivot to an ankle breaker and come out the other side, right? You have to preserve your ability to think. You have to preserve your ability to care, your ability to strive, right? And so this is all this mental preparation. And those of us who have failed we have one great thing in our little quiver of armor, is you realize it means nothing. Family is everything. Health is second, right? And everything else, nothing else counts. That's where it comes down to. And you hear the stories of people on their deathbed, you know, what do they regret and what do they not regret, and all that. All those stories add up for you to be able to go, okay, here's my rock. I got my rock. That's all I need. First, you need your rock, right? Then you need to say, I'm going to get waves. Like if your business is going to be challenged and your cash flow is short and there's no opportunities, or you're locked in your house so you can't do much. By the way, we're going to publish, how to survive like an entrepreneur sometime in the next day or and a half. Give you a couple of tips. And, but you it's not unreasonable. It's not normal, and it's not lacking manhood. I know Bobby Walker said it. He said, I used to call people who said these kind of things like a bitch. And he said, here am I, I'm a bitch, right? I'm getting these flashes of overwhelm with what's going on and not knowing this. And that's the thing, like the younger you are, and with the fantastic run of economic prosperity that we've had, you guys haven't had these challenges, right? Hey, Aubrey's here. Good to see you. So my, I just want to remind you that America has a president who, for all the stories plus and minus on Atlantic City and what happened, and how many people didn't get paid and how many businesses went down and all this sort of thing, but he survived. There's something to understand, is that he did survive, and he survived using legal structures that were there, which help people who are bigger than us be able to survive dramas that are bigger than our dramas. And those things were probably put into place. I don't know. I'd love to do the research and find out. But I'm guessing that after the Great Depression, that laws were changed to give opportunities for entrepreneurs and developers and people like that to be able to get out and start again. Otherwise, when they go down and become homeless, like who's gonna be the next generation of them? You need some of those people. So that's what I think. But the thing is that he's faced everything on the line, and I think that's if you have to choose between a career politician who's been on, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for 30 years or 40 years, couple of backhanders on the way through, looking after the family, legal or not legal, it doesn't really matter, but I mean, everything's sweet, right? You can make ends meet, the bank account's fine, right? And then you come to this crisis. And then how do you handle that crisis? And that's why I refer to JFK, because he saw war, right? Or active service. Anyway, I don't know at what level he was involved, but I just always remember that. And I know Trump faced Atlantic City and several other crises where he stands to lose everything. And I think that makes him a good person to have now, I think. In my opinion. I'm not saying he doesn't do everything right. I'm not saying that he took every opportunity. I'm not saying that everything went the right way, because everybody knows it didn't all go to plan, but everybody's doing their best. Nobody did it with malevolence, So, yeah, that's it, Aubrey. But the secret is to prepare ourselves so that we don't get taken down by it emotionally. We've got to be able to seize opportunity. We've got to be able to pivot. We've got to be able to see something. And if it doesn't work, we can't become suicidal. We can't become an asshole to our families who love us and care about us and don't care about, how we fit, how well we're seen by the rest of the world. Those are the things, right? So you've got the Colonel Sanders gets to 65, retires, and then runs around and, asks, 1,000 people if they'll help him, make his KFC. And here he is, lived to 85, saw 20 years of amazing success, and he's got, one of the most global food chains, with his face on it, in the world. Thomas Edison, tried to make a light bulb, and people go, dude, don't you get sick of failing? And he goes, no. It's like, I'm not failing. I'm succeeding at working another way that doesn't work. So I just want to encourage you that you got these opportunities, just to prepare your mind. And then with that, you can ride the tiger. And if you get flashes of fear, if you get flashes of overwhelm, if you get flashes of it's too much, then that's just cortisol. It's just a hormone, and you've just got to say, okay, it's cool, let it be. Say I'm scared 3 times to yourself. That is amazing relief, by the way. And any of you who are listening to this and you've got a chance to put a comment on Facebook, if you have experienced failure, then it's, if you can reinforce what I've said, is that it's not the end of the world. Everything can start again. You're still here. Your family's still here. Everybody's fine, right? And, what we can do is also work together as a community, and, we're going to come out the other side of this. But I really, really just want to encourage you to, run this process and don't be in denial. Like, you want to ride the tiger, use it for the energy that it's got, right? Get on its back, learn about it, and then use its power to take you forward to where you want to be, right? And we all know where we want to be. We want to have a booming economy. We want to have full, employment. We want to be putting money. This too shall pass. That's right, Jim Albright. That's another one. And actually, that's another one. That's another affirmation that you should really understand clearly. But Aubrey, we haven't got 6 months corporate survival cash, So we're going to twist and turn a little bit, see what we can do. So there you go. So, individuals can have that kind of money. We've got that kind of money as a family, but we haven't got that kind of money as a corporation, or a company. Yeah, and I have no debt also. I am also, having experienced a big failure, I have been a no debt person, Okay, so that's my tips for the day, right? And we'll sign in again tomorrow. I might even show you the sunset tonight, just for those of you who are in self-isolation. Yeah. Okay, so signing out. Leave comments. I'll be here. I'll definitely be answering as you watch this, and it'll be good. Julian Pierce, you're joining at the end. You meant to join at the beginning, but Julian Pierce from Wales. Yeah. yes, big doesn't mean you're making a lot. Well, it depends what you're reinvesting. You can make a lot and throw it back in, and then you look at the old companies which have got molds that can make a million things, then they can just keep printing and making money. I learned from a friend of mine who actually was involved with Gillette that Gillette threw $1.6 billion at the Gillette 5 razor system. But after they'd made it, they cost like 1 cent, but they can sell them for $5, so that was just an absolute example of the license to print money, so if you've got big money, you're going to be great, yeah. So, but that's not the majority of us, and see how we can work together. Yeah, good to see you too, Joe. Yep, all good. Just talking, and you're old enough, Joe, to have been through some tough times, before, and that's what I'm talking is especially for the younger guys who have never been through a tough time. They've only ever known, prosperity and economic success. And Saul's here, good to see you. So it's that the ability to, to understand that that you have to, buckle down. You got to buckle down quickly, pull in the finances. Look for other opportunities of what you can do so that you've got some sort of security, something going forward, right? And then just don't freak out. That's really what this is about. I should call it don't freak out rather than ride the tiger. But it's just don't let yourself freak out. You've got to let the overwhelm. You can't stop overwhelm, just like you can't stop yourself from getting angry, or you can't stop yourself from being disappointed, or you can't stop yourself from being jealous. You can't stop yourself from watching a beautiful girl if that's your orientation. She walks by. All this stuff is built into us. These are all our self-defense mechanisms, so we're not crazy. But you can't get overwhelmed by it. Yes. Oh, that's interesting, Aubrey. I would love to read your comments on that. John Tornabin's here. See? John, you're old enough and you've seen some dramas, right? So I'm just talking about not being overwhelmed by the feelings of what is happening. And I've been reading your posts, John. You're getting cancellations and, you're worried about your workers going into areas where coronavirus is and stuff like that. So there's just days where your brain just goes, whoa, that's actually a little bit more than my brain can handle right now. And then knowing how to handle that, knowing how to dissipate that, knowing how to walk yourself through it, ride the tiger, understand there's going to be fear, I'm scared. Admit it, get it out of the way. Don't let it control you by running itself as a secret in your mind. Secrets hold you ransom, right? Transparency does not, So keep yourself transparent to yourself. Be honest with your feelings. Repeat them 3 times. Yes, so here you are. Finish on this one. Here's Harrison.
To your own self be true.
There it is. That's your rule, yeah?
Yeah.
That's it. And the secret to your own self be true is to know yourself. You must know yourself to be true to yourself. So you see the guys who are all over the place and, given to antagonism and opposition and negativity and slander and all that kind of things. Those guys don't know themselves. Okay, but we're going to leave them behind. I hope the industry just aborts them, right? All the people with an addiction to negativity and drama and horrible shit that just get wiped out of the community, right? Go be that person somewhere else, because we need positivity. We need counseling, coaching, good examples, mentorship, all of that through this time, yeah. Right, yes. And if you want something else to study, Stoicism, I might do a little bit on Stoicism. That's a whole other way. Yeah, goodbye trolls. Amen. Okay, good. All right, write some stuff, Aubrey, and we'll we'll have a banter about it. Okay, all good. Okay, signing out. Stay safe. Stay isolated, wherever you are. Okay.